Hi, I'm Kat Bell, and today I will be making over this mirror. And I realized that this handle was like the perfect steak shape. And I mean steak is in the what you thrust into the heart of vampires, not the meal. And so this is going to be Dracula inspired. So on the back side it's going to say foul bauble. And on the other side, I'm going to use this spray glass paint stuff, and it's going to say man's vanity. So this is going to be in homage to Jonathan's poor shaving mirror that got yeeted out the window. So the first things first is we're going to try and clean this a bit and get some of this stuff off, so we have a better painting surface. So that's step one. So I went in with some of this Pledge multi-surface cleaner, and it worked pretty well, especially on the mirror part. And I wasn't sure about getting everything off the handle bit, but most of it came off pretty easy, and everything else, pretty much the sanding took care of that. And I'm trying out the other style of recording again, just because I feel like I figured out what I did wrong last time. And it did go a lot smoother in this video, but I'm still not quite liking it. So I'll probably be going back to just regular recordings again. In the end, the sanding really did help get some of the grime off, though it was a little difficult getting into the little ridges, but overall it wasn't that bad of a process. The gessoing was pretty easy, though I did not use tape around the mirror, so I just had to be really careful about that edge. And the hardest part really was waiting for the one side to dry so I can get to the other side. Finally getting in with the color. The base is mostly black, and then the steaky bit is this just straight out of the bottle brown. And rather than waiting for layers to dry and using tape to keep the edge clear, I really just kind of went over mostly with the brown and then just kind of cleaned it up when I went over with the darker color. And it did just take a couple coats to just build up, mostly on the brown. But to get that nice coverage, I did just do a couple layers just to make sure everything was covered. And I also went along the front with the black. But right around the mirror there was this extra little lip thing. And I just went in with a little bit of silver, I felt like it would really make it pop. Also, vampires and silver, they don't go together, but it's, part of the lore that they don't like silver. So I felt like it was a good touch. And then I just dry brushed the steaky bit to give it more dimension. And then I used the red Posca to write foul bauble. And I did go over that with a little bit of a metallic red, just to give it a little something extra. And once the paint was dry, I went ahead with the varnish. It keeps the paint safe and also gives it a nice glossy sheen. And finally, coming to the toughest part of this project, I was trying this technique where you use tape to basically make a stencil for any kind of spray paint. And the first thing I did was lay out the tape and then trace the outline of the mirror just to make sure I was working within the confines of the space, kind of eyeballing where the actual mirror part is. And then I just wrote out man's vanity and then just kind of went over again with kind of a chunky box font. And I was going specifically with a more boxy font because I was going to be cutting this out with a box cutter, and I know I'm not dexterous enough to be able to do really good curves, so I figured boxy would just come out nicer. When I was finally done cutting out the letters, I carefully peeled up the tape from the cutting mat and placed it onto the mirror, making sure it was flat and didn't have any kind of warps in any of the letters. And then I went ahead and taped all the other parts of the mirror to make sure none of that would be sprayed as well. The spraying itself didn't take too long. I did put down a protective layer over the table, and I did have to do a little bit of cleanup, but I just went in with some acetone and a Q-tip. So here's the finished mirror. This side has man's vanity, and I was trying to get as clean a line as I could, but we did get some chunkiness on the edge, but that kind of works. Kind of gives it that coagulated blood effect. And so, foul bauble of man's vanity, and the nice little wooden stake effect. Overall, I really like how it came out, and there's some other things I would probably try next time I try to do like a mirror or glass thing to try and get a cleaner line. But overall, I like how the effect looked for this piece with the kind of chunky edge. So overall, very happy with this project, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!